Hey everybody, Shay here for another unwrapping video. We are going to be ripping off the plastic on this sucker right here and take a look. And the test this time around is to basically find out if images at least show up a little bit better and is salvageable. If that's the case, then I'll mess around with that for a bit before we move on. And I determine whether or not I just want to get a new camera. So that I don't have to deal with this. Okay, so ripping up the plastic. Glossy is pretty. When you do that spot gloss, it's also pretty cool. But I'm liking the matte finish. Okay, let me see if this setup works here for this book. There you go. There's a switch over. It turns out the further away I move the camera, the better this gets. There you go. So Dragon Age, the Art of Thedas. So there's that matte quality I was talking about. Now the logo there has the gloss. And then we have the back here, which just gives you the summary of the book itself. And we have some hands coming out of to fate. Magic. They're getting burned, but I'm going to assume they're getting burned by Morrigan. All right, so let's put this down and let's flip it open and see what we're looking at here. So this is artwork that I believe, if I recall correctly, comes from the intro of Dragon Age Origins. Now, I'm not going to remember everything, but I love this series. I recommend it for people out there who love just RPGs, fantasies, kind of getting into like deep world lore baked into an experience. Pick up Dragon Age. That's awesome. Okay, so here we go. We have a nice little dragon ink spot there. That's also probably from some of that spot art. Now this is art I have never seen. This has a really interesting quality. Like you can see a bit of the shine on this page right there. Massive glare, right? And I mean, my fingers are leaving just enough oil prints on the black of this ink it's like bothering me. See that right there? Like I get bothered with fingerprint oil stains like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I get one here. I get like a cloth like this, like my little to clean glasses with. I'm like every time I flip a page. Yeah. I'm a bit obsessive compulsive with my books. Yes. Okay. Anyway, so this is art I've also not seen. So we're gonna get a lot of like I guess concept art in here as well, and this is what I'm looking forward to. Just also lore. I would love to have some more lore. This does say the world of Thedas, so it's not necessarily an art book. It's kind of a content lore book. I don't know how many pages this is, but let's take a quick peek here. It's about a 200-page book. So I want to be a little bit reasonable here and just flip through it just to get some ideas of what's in the content for people who might be interested in picking this up. I love this. I love the map spread here of I mean, we don't go to all of these places, which is awesome. You know what else? I see maps like this. I would love to get this thing printed. I think that I've seen something where these maps are printed on cloth. I would definitely purchase one, and then I would like to start hanging fantasy maps. That's kind of like an idea I have for the house. I got weird ideas sometimes like that, and I follow through with them eventually. 1 year. And as you start here in the game for Elden, and of course that's all you do. And then in the future games, you get to Orlais. But for the most part, you don't go anywhere else. We'll see what happens in Dragon Age 4. It looks like there's going to be some stuff going on up here in the north. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this might be the most comprehensive map I've ever seen for the game. You see the binding right here. It's got the stitching. So it looks like it'll preserve really well for a long time, but you do want to be careful here because you will eventually tear those if you overstretch. And we have Sarah on there with the where the Canary are. Parvolan. I mean, Antiva. I would love to have a game that gets to Antiva. Antiva is one of the places that I'm most kind of curious about. Of course, we're going to get to Winter Imperium. That's going to be one of the main focuses in Dragon Age 4. And Navarra, I think, comes up in the novel. Just started the collection. That's pre-Dragon Age 4. It's a bunch of short stories, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, I would love for them to spread out. I like this would all be cool. I mean, we get a little bit of references to free marches. I'm literally on the first page. I haven't flipped through this book yet. I'm getting caught up in the world. So here we go. Welcome to Thedas is going to give you a bit of a summary here. I like the design. Ooh, this is really cool. Oh, I like this because I started to create my own kind of map, my own timeline thing. I know there are wikis out there. I don't care. Anyways, so we have the brief history. Oh, there's a lot of reading here. This is going to be crazy. Okay, this is going to take me a while to kind of get through. Oh, I love these so much. Like, I would love to make a book like this someday. I have tons of books like this for books I have never read. I just love how the layouts work for things like this. I like to just see how people have pulled it off. Like, I really love this right here. I'm not sure if I've seen this in any of my other lore books. And I love sections like this. It reminds me of tabletop gaming books, the way they lay out a lot of their source books, especially the more like late 90s version of the Dungeons and Dragons books and stuff that was specifically done by Paizo. I think Paizo Publishing has some of the best designs out there. They set a precedent in the early 2000s for gaming books to kind of up their game on the design. Like their art style was great, their layout style was great. That's great. The Black Emporium. I'm gonna have all these flashbacks coming through. We got the calendar. Was this in one of the codexes? I forget if they actually gave us a timeline like that. But have I ever seen this? Maybe I went and finally searched up a wiki for that. I haven't done all the games. I do recommend that you play all the games before you spoil anything for yourself. We have the races. This is very tabletop gamey, of course. It's going to go into a lot of the history and stuff like that. I love this. I would love to do something like this someday. I mean, this is I was doing this for some of the early stuff I did. I would just do this as fun. I would break things down like this. One of the biggest projects I did, I got up above 100 pages single spaced, and then my PC crashed. I lost all of that work, but the work I did for that world eventually has influenced a lot of the work that I've done with the content I've been doing, the creator-owned content. Like, none of that stuff really dies because, you know, it stays in your head, and it's not published. So eventually I'm just going to pull on that stuff, and it's going to influence other things, you know. So you got concept art there, because I haven't seen this either. Again, this might be from the Dragon Age tabletop game. Maybe they borrowed some artwork from there. That's a book I wouldn't mind buying too. It's from Green Ronin, and it's one of my favorite companies out there for not just third edition, post third edition, but not just third edition. Mutants and Masterminds. They do a bunch of stuff. True 20. Blue Rose. There's so many things. Just the offshoots settings that they've created. Great design coming out of Green Ronin as well. They did the what's it called? The Dragon Age is called what? The Age system, something like that. Never got into it, but here it's slick, and I mean they would have a lore book, a tabletop book. So I'm sure that it also has lore. We got the Kunari here. We got the hornless ones in here and the horned ones. They made it canon. I believe, for those who don't know the lore, but in the Dragon Age Origins, Sten does not have horns. And if I recall correctly, and I wonder if they're going to splice that lore in here as well, is that they couldn't get the horns designed on the model properly. I think something like that. And so they took the horns off of the models. And that's why Sten doesn't have horns, but all other future Kunari have horns. This is just turned into part of the lore. They baked it in. There you go. Wait a minute. That's from Dragon Age 2, though. So this book might account for Dragon Age 1 and 2. Okay, that might explain why they're kind of going into a bit more of the Kunari stuff. And then we have the Nations. Yeah, this reminds me of the 90s tabletop stuff, man. The way it's sort of organized and broken down. I love it. Dana the Werewolf. The Legend of Dana the Werewolf. You get pieces of this throughout Dragon Age Origins. I love that they go into this. Wait, let me see something here. And then they go into Dogs and Werewolves. Just it's a bunch of the code. I hope they don't just reprint the codexes, although they did already do the work. So I mean, why not just mash it all up, but then kind of get cohesive, like make it all cohesive. Some what's this for? Probably Kirkwall. Probably the bottom. Oh, it says right here. The Crypts of Navarra. No, families whose bloodlines die out may be left in despair and are susceptible to grave robbers. You see, like, there's concept art. Navarra has never appeared in any of the games. Ever. So why is there concept art? So I'm very curious. Very curious. We have this right here. This one right here is vendors hawk food and wares in city markets, driving local economies from Kirkwall to Val Royeaux. I mean, that looks pretty cool. That's looks way more detailed than anything you get in the game in Kirkwall. I am going page by page, aren't I? In any case, I hope you don't mind. I mean, it's not like the text is readable. Like, really, are people watching these videos to, like, read the stuff in this book? If you enjoy Dragon Age and you love this stuff, then you should be picking up this book. This is, like, anybody who loves the game, this needs to be in your collection, just because it's, I mean, it's really good quality. The pages are really sturdy and they're really thick. Now, I'm getting a little nervous about the spine. I'm holding it not quite flat because I just get nervous about that. But I am flipping single pages and hearing a bit of a... You see that? So sometimes that makes me nervous because I wonder if the binding is starting to, like, come apart. Makes me a little... I just get nervous. I want these books to last forever. I know that's not always possible. There's Isabella. Ravane. Love it. Valroyo stuff. Look at these creepy bastards. Great stuff. See that? Did you hear it? Okay, now we're getting into the magic and nasty. That's great stuff. Let's refocus here. I mean, I guess yeah. Let's. Oh, we got the Meredith. Oh, I shouldn't be talking about things explicitly, just in case people spoiling things. I don't know. So many years has passed, but you know what? I played all 3 games blind in the last 4 years. Never. I mean, because I knew I was gonna play them, and so I never looked anything up, and I preserved myself. So I should probably respect that. Alistair. Anders. I'm gonna get crucified for saying the wrong thing by the fans. We got religion here. I would love to learn more about the religion, but I mean the main one we learn about in the games is the chantry stuff, chantry belief, Andraste disciples. Look at that. That's great. That's Kirkwall right there. Towering statue of Andraste dominates the apse of a chantry cathedral. Oh, it's not Kirkwall? Because Kirkwall has the cathedral where you kind of walk up the edges here, right? I thought, but now I'm like, was there a statue in the Kirkwall Cathedral? I don't remember. I love that they even like got the triptychs. Was this on one of the walls, I wondered, or triptych? And another another common way that Andraste's life is expressed through chantry artistry. Of course, this is like huge influence from just our own kind of history with religion and the way art was done. It's transposed here, and it's really effective. I'm easily past the halfway point of this book, and we are still, I guess I passed the dragon thing, so maybe they're talking about the dragon cult and stuff like that. We got the stone, so that's the religion or the faith of, if you can call it that, of the dwarves, the belief system, I suppose. We got the Kun, the belief system of the Kunari, the Kosith, I think it's Kothith, Tal Vashoth. I'm not going to get into the Kun. That's a rabbit hole. We got the Fade here. This was easily my favorite part of the entire franchise, was slowly learning the secrets about the Fade. Game to game, they explore just a little bit further about how the things function, what the rules are in this space. It's the idea of ideas existing in this other world where the ideas can manifest into more kind of like personified forms or forms that take on personification. But then, like, the more that the more belief there is, the more solid they become. I mean, literally, but also they and then beyond that, I don't want to spoil things, so I'm kind of being careful with what I say, but it's very much based on a philosophy that I've always found very interesting, which summarized as simply as possible. It goes, there's the idea, there's the physical object, there's an idea of a physical object, and then there's the idea that fuels the idea that then could become a physical object. And so there's this tier of kind of reality, or a tier of realness, that you can kind of work into a hierarchy. And I got a philosophy, I got like a lot of like history with philosophy and stuff like that, and I've always enjoyed to keep reading about philosophy over the last 20 years, and that one stuck with me the most because there's a lot of concepts there that I really, really love to explore. And that helped me really, that helped me a lot to kind of at least build up my own headcanon about how the Fade works. And throughout Dragon Age Inquisition, a lot of what I thought about how this worked does sort of hold true. And not only did it hold true, but it got proven explicitly with certain characters evolving and transforming into more solid things and stuff like that. And they kind of there's a range that happens between all of that. And I've always wanted to create a series about this world from a world building perspective of how these ideas evolve from game to game, and to project and speculate on what they could mean for Dragon Age 4 and beyond. And I believe there's a lot of sort of unconscious influences that go into writers' creativity when they're coming up with shared worlds, and they contribute into this pool. But like, every writer doesn't have the same idea about what something is. You contribute into that pool, and then it becomes this amorphous mass of ideas and content that sort of takes on a life of its own. But I do believe it taps into this sort of like universal subconscious of ideas, and that goes back throughout history, throughout storytelling history, and it fuels people's creativity and it gets them to certain ideas that have this kind of primal, fundamental nature about them. And I like to investigate things like that. So I have ideas for a series that I would love to do, but I would love to read all of these books so I can consume absolutely everything that these writers, these creators, these developers, all these people, all this lore, what their intentions were, so then I can explore them further. Got a vice hop here. I think I've heard characters call it vice hop, but I like to say the W with a V sound. Just because I feel like it's appropriate. We're talking about the blights there. We got the bestiary. I used to buy, and I do have books about that. I used to go to the chapters or whatever, wander around. If I saw a bestiary of some setting, I would probably buy it. I'd probably walk out with a bestiary. For no reason. I'd have no context for what a lot of it was, but I would just love to read people's ideas about fantasy creatures and how they integrate into worlds. And because that, of course, inspires, again, that subconscious, like that, it's just a pool of knowledge that I've absorbed over the decades that then turn into my own ideas, you know? It's kind of like while in art school, we were told, for you to find your own style or your own voice, you don't steal from one artist, you don't steal from two artists, and this might be from a quote from, it might have been Picasso or something like that. You take from like 5 or something, and then all of a sudden you develop your own. You pick it from here, from there, and then you come out. You end up having your own style. It becomes your own personality starts to wrap up around there, because those become influences that become part of the whole. All right, so here you go. So we got bestiary. I started working on a document tied to how the demons and spirits and the different hierarchies work within the hells. Now, some of that is explicit in the codexes of the game. I hope to get some more out of this, but I mean, I have a network, a spreadsheet, but like a flow chart of what I think is actually going on with how all of this works. I have a structure to it all. Now, whether or not that proves to be true or not, I don't know, but I've built a sort of structure around all of this that, I mean, I don't think Dragon Age Origins had a solid handle on what they were trying to do with all of this. I think in Dragon Age 2, they started to firm up what those rules might be from a world-building creative team perspective. And then Dragon Age Inquisition, I think they really started to they're like, we know where we're trying to go with this. We know what this stuff, where this could lead for a future installment of the game. And so, that's when I started to hone in on it as well, and that they were trying to slick it up. So, I mean, but then there's going to be contradictions possibly from Dragon Age Origins. At least I've uncovered a few. We have the glossary here. This is stuff that, in fantasy books, I love the glossary in books. I love the codex in these games. They really contribute to that world building again. And I've added this into my own comics. Do I have any of them around here? Of course, I have none right here. But in the comics I create, I will always have some bonus pages that are basically codexes. They're like glossaries. It's either going to include slang that comes from different cultures. It's going to talk a little bit about what some of the ideas are, just so that people have some framework that they can start building on top of. So I love all of this. It's huge inspiration from other games, but I love that it's here as well, because it makes it really quick to just reference something and get a snapshot of what it is. And that's the book. Now let's go straight to the end, just in case there's anything extra. I might be picking up this card set before it goes out of print, and then done. So there you go. That was a full one. I didn't think I'd be able to talk through that whole thing. It's just like freestyle, but turns out I love Dragon Age that much, and so I did. Now I have Volume 2. We'll go through that one as well and see what it offers. And I do want to confirm real quick, Tone brings you up to speed on everything you need to know about the regions, religions, monsters, magic, and more, written and illustrated by the creators of the game. Okay, so I'm going to say yes. I'm going to assume that Volume 2 includes Dragon Age Inquisition, but I also have a book for Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, that Dragon Age Inquisition book might be just the art and the concept art and stuff like that, but we're going to go through all 3 of them, and I'm going to see if I can encourage myself to finally start writing scripts and lore documents for a series I would love to do one day, to not break down the world of Dragon Age, but to investigate, speculate, try to create a framework around the lore that they've given us, and just to make it a lot more cohesive for people who are joining the franchise. In any case, that's the kind of unveiling, the unwrapping, I don't know what to call these things, the spotlighting, the showcasing of Dragon Age, the World of Thedas Volume 1. I hope to be back soon to do Volume 2, and I'll see you there. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, buddy. Peace.